Peace and blessings be unto each and every one of you. Thank you for joining us here on the Restoring Light podcast. I am enjoying this journey, and I'm thankful to each and every one of you that join us and subscribe. So please go to YouTube, subscribe, like, and follow us. I'm enjoying this, and I think and I appreciate you sharing how much you are enjoying our conversations as well. It's not an easy topic. But we have to start discussing it. I try to present it to you differently than you may have heard, which is I talk about the resilience, the strength, the brilliance, and the unity of our ancestors, and I bring everything into one discussion or a series of discussions. But that's what we focus on, not the stories that we saw on television. Not so much they did happen, and it was worse. But our ancestors is our focus, because those are the ones that's going to help us move along. And we have to know our history as much as possible, or at least to embrace a new concept of history that you may have been taught. So I'm not trying to convert anybody. I just want to open up the discussion and put it out there so we can start talking about it, dealing with what I feel like what I'm going to discuss in this particular program, the silent heirloom of trauma. Yes, the silent heirloom of trauma. Appreciate all the that have been with us and encouraging us along the way. I'm learning a lot, everyone, and I appreciate your patience. I'm learning a lot about me and trying to convey this message in the most positive and encouraging and enlightening way that I possibly can. And I hope that is the target. That is the target that we are aiming for, and I hope we are hitting it, at least very close to hitting it. But I'm always in the game to learn more, and that's what I'm doing. Before we go into our conversation, I want to at least share with you my journey, another journey that I'm on, and I want to encourage everyone. But we know that my conversations are really focused on the improvement and the betterment of the African American community. And I go to the doctor often. Those that follow me on social media, I've been an avid walker for at least the last 10 years. It dawned upon me after hearing we need to go to the doctor, we need exercise, lifestyle change opposed to diet. And that's what I did. I went on a lifestyle change, and it was hard. I had to do a lot of motivating. And I know those of you who are trying to get into the point where you can really, really be consistent with your healthy living lifestyle. One, remove the word diets. Diets don't work. Healthy living lifestyle, change your lifestyle, take it step by step, do the best you can, and celebrate small victories. Because I celebrated when I was able to get out of that recliner that's right over there, when I was able to get out of that recliner and actually go walk, because I thought about it, I said I was going to do it, I journaled about it, I did everything, but I didn't go walking. So I know one of the first steps, making up your mind that you need to go, and then actually getting out of that chair or breaking away from your routine to your schedule, your busy schedule, in order to do it. So I know the struggle. But I've been doing this for 10 years. I was weighing 255 pounds, very unhealthy, but I was a good-looking man. But I was weighing 255 pounds. To fast forward to maybe a month or two ago, I'm now 215 pounds. I've been I hover between 215 and 220. That's the range that I'm comfortable in right now. And my doctor's like. However, I go to the doctor very often. They were able to discover irregular heartbeat, and without sharing a lot of details, I went from that regular examination every 3 months, between every 3 months and every 6 months. But I'll always go to the doctor, and I encourage you to do that. That's why I'm telling this story. They caught my issue early. I was able to be fast-tracked, boom, 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 surgery, same day outpatient, and back to activities with a little restrictions. But other than that, I'm doing fine. Already in my treatment plan, so I'm doing very good. Caught it early. But this is my point. There are many of you who are going through health challenges. I want to share mine, and I hope me sharing mine will help you with yours. I know some of the secret thoughts and some of the the lonely nights and early morning conversations between myself and God, and I'm sure you're doing the same thing. But I'm here to testify that He's answered my prayer. I am doing very well. As I said, they caught it early. It's better to catch it early than discover it late. Okay? Good. So we're going to go on this journey together, and I pray good health for each and every one of you. If you know someone, tell them to follow us so we can go take this journey together and reach the other side of healing. I want to talk to you today. The Restoring Light podcast is teaching me a lot. Some topics that I intend to share my opinion, my research, my whatever you want to call it. It's not to indoctrinate you. It's not to point fingers at anyone or any group of people by any means. My goal is unity. But in the process of writing the Restoring Light, Overcoming the Restoring Light series, with the first book, Overcoming the Dark Past, this is the first book in front of me, and then we're at the publisher with From Chains to Change, and the third book I am still working on, and it is entitled Slavery is Not My DNA. So it's really a positive approach to discussing things that we need to discuss, healing that needs to take place, greater unity. So we're going to do this together. I don't have the answers. I am just here to spark it, spark the conversation, spark a thought. I'm not here to tell you to do it my way, but I'm going to share with you my way because I am enjoying the journey of knowledge that I am embarking upon. Okay? Let's talk about the silent heirloom of trauma. This is in the third book, but I want to talk about it because I'm seeing a lot of it. I'm having conversation with people, and I'm seeing that, wow, this is being duplicated, and it's very similar things that are going on in our families. But like I said, you know my focus here. The silent heirloom of trauma. When you think of, I am a photographer as well, been doing it for over 40 years. I offer to families a very special plan where I capture your senior members of your family, and it's a family heirloom portrait. I only make one, so it's something that would be willed down through the generations. A family heirloom portrait. It is a tangible keepsake for years to come to remember that loved one. And that heirloom becomes more special as the years go on because there's only one copy, very valuable. The slave masters and the ones that owned the land, they passed down heirlooms like an heirloom of tangible value, heirloom, gold, a special ring, things like that. But when we look at our ancestors, the things that were passed down to them were passed down through trauma, through abuse. It was passed down through torture, through dehumanization, public whippings, burning. A lot of the things that we are familiar with, and this is not to continuously regurgitate those things, but at least set a backdrop of where we're going. Dehumanization and all the treatment that our ancestors had to endure, they had to go through levels of trauma that has been passed down from generation to generation to generation. So our heirlooms are not rings. Our heirlooms are not silver or gold property. Our heirloom has been trauma. But I'm just talking about for reference purposes for the book and the things that our ancestors had to endure early on. They had possessions. Only thing they had were their stories. So we are passing that on to you, and we pray that you're encouraged by listening and hearing it. I can remember hearing people say that, and I'm sure some of you have heard the same. You do this like your grandmother. You do this like your grandfather. My great great grandmother used to cook hers like this, and yours tastes just like hers. And when you do your hand like this, it looks just like your great great grandfather. He used to do the same thing with his hand, and we get a sense of pride that it is recalled that we resemble our ancestors. We resemble our great grandfather, our grandfather, our mother, and those type things. Those are who have gone on. So it's always wonderful to hear that. But we never talk about the silent heirloom of trauma. It has always been, and I've been one of those people. It's difficult to listen to. It's difficult to relive. But I think in order for us to move forward, I think we can talk about the resilience, the strength, the unity, and the brilliance of our ancestors to endure all that they had to endure to help our community get where it is today. So they're horrific stories, but they're great stories of resilience and unity through the suffering. But whatever you're suffering through, when we look at what our ancestors did and how strong they were and how steadfast they were, we can really learn from the practices that we've seen down through the years. So I hope we be able to embrace some of those things. They had to endure dehumanization. Think about, I'm going to bring it to modern day, where you maybe possibly in some families, there is tension in different areas: mother, daughter, daddy, son, daddy, wife, mama, children, whatever combination, auntie, just some type of real fierce, whatever you want to call it, competition or anger. And you've seen this for years and different things for years and years and years. You wonder why when you clean, for some, it's never cleaned enough, similar to the slave master. I'm not saying they are the slave master, but we have to understand that the trauma that they went through, many of those things have manifested themselves in your life, in my life, and see some of the residual behavior even in today's family. And we don't talk about it. We don't talk about it. What goes on in this house stays in this house. So the trauma is silent. But we have people that deal with different behavior issues, and I'm not a specialist. I have a pretty strong career in psychology, but I'm not at the point where I can tell you what's going on in your family. I'm just drawing a parallel from the period of slavery up until today and what our ancestors did when they sent soldiers out for battle, some for 4 years, some for a career. Career oftentimes 20 years plus, I believe. I didn't go to the military, so I'm not an expert in that area. But I do know that many times when the soldiers return, they deal with post-traumatic stress syndrome, the trauma from the war, the trauma from seeing people die, this trauma from all the things that they do for this country. And I can draw a parallel. All of the things that our ancestors did for this country, and their tour of duty was much longer than a tour in the military. It was repetitive. It was years. It was generations. And at no point was anyone offer psychological care. So just use it as a slight comparison. We've gone through a lot. We've gone through a lot. And our ancestors had to be strong and just suppress it and whatever they had to do to cope with the mistreatment, the torture, the dehumanization, the rapes, all the things they had to go through, the separation of family, and the results. I want to talk about the results of that type of traumatic experience. I think a lot of us can think of something traumatic that we have experienced and the impact that that traumatic situation has made on your life. Now, multiply that by almost infinity. You understand what I'm saying? Multiply that by 400 years of whatever you may be feeling, and I'm not a doctor, but just follow me for storytelling's sake. You may be feeling some of the things as a result of what our grandmother was feeling, our grandfather was feeling, our father was feeling, but it couldn't be articulated. They had to learn how to deal with it. And we know how to make a difficult situation much better. We know how to make bad things work out. And we're going to hear a word from our sponsor, and I'm going to come right back, and I'm going to talk to you about, give you an example now. So let's listen to a word from our sponsor. Please don't go anywhere. I am supporting Black-owned businesses. And this is a young lady, Dr. DaCosta, Reverend DaCosta, in Concord, North Carolina. She has Kingdom Kids Empowerment Academy. Take a peek at this, and come right back on the other side.
At Kingdom Kids Empowerment Academy, our focus is on developing the whole child. We do this by focusing on our core value system, which is the acronym HEAL. That stands for Holistic Health, Mind, Body, and Spirit. E stands for Economic and Entrepreneurship. A stands for Academic Success. And L stands for Leader Development. So what our goal is to do is to make sure they are academically, socially, and emotionally sound individuals.
Kingdom Kids has made a big impact on all three of my children. I have a 5-year-old that's reading very well, can express his emotions. Which is really big. I have an 11-year-old who is having problems with ADHD, focusing in the traditional school, and now he's here. We appreciate the one-on-one Miss Tanisha has for our children.
At Kingdom Kids Empowerment Academy, we don't just teach. Our goal is to build future leaders.
Hi, I am Zoe, and I am a graduate with Kingdom Kids. I enjoyed and loved the program so much to the point where I come back on my free time and volunteer.
We believe every child is born with greatness. We believe every kid has a quirk. At Kingdom Kids, our goal is to empower them to soar and reach it.
If you're ever looking for a place that your child can be wholesome, your child can be who they are, and the teacher can meet them where they are, I truly would say Kingdom Kids Empowerment Academy.
At Kingdom Kids Empowerment Academy, we're looking for families like you. Will you join us?
Thank you. We're back. Okay. I'm talking about, but how, as our ancestors had to make the best out of what they had. And I want to take it to a point how during that period of time, it was survival. I want to talk about the slaves' diet. In order for them to survive, they had to eat what was thrown out to them. And to make a long story short, all the things that's considered not something healthy to consume, it was thrown out to the slaves. And as we always do, we can make a gourmet meal out of slop. And that's pretty much what we did, stuff that we were not supposed to eat, but they had to eat it for survival. And it grows to such taste that it has lasted down through generations. But we have come to a point where we understand the arguments, and there are many arguments when we talk about the black diet. There's some protection of this heritage, which I understand. However, I'm just using it as an example. We have come to the point now in today's world where we know the detriment of our diets if they're not in line, but we protect it because it means so much to us. It's a part of who we are, and I'm not justifying doing it. I'm just trying to make a point here, and we defend it vehemently. You could go to a family gathering, and from the last time you saw that family, and you go in and you say, I'd rather not have that, and then you're going to be interrogated in some instances because you eat this, you grew up on this. You all have heard it. Those of you who have tried to transition over to a healthy living lifestyle, you grew up. Grandma so and so lived to be 95 years old, and she ate whatever she wants. So we have many justifications to protect something that means something to us. That was survival. It was an important part of us, so I'm not disqualifying that. But along the way, we discovered the health issues with it. We discovered the sodium level, and you know, some of our family gatherings, we got the pig on the grill, covering the whole grill. We got every other kind of fish and every other kind of meat, grilled and fried in the middle of the table. And then we have a whole full table with Auntie Sue's and Auntie Mary's cakes and pies. So we had everything, and we celebrate that, and we embrace that. But it comes to a point where our practices, what we inherited, is causing trauma because it's causing health issues. I know the defense. I know that I've heard the defense. I understand that. That's my point. We have to reconsider things like that, how hard it is for us to break away from that for some of us, and how much we defend that, and because it's a fight, it's a part of who we are. It means a lot to us. I get it. That's where the black family gatherings always took place. Wonderful thing. I have great memories. But we understand the health factor. But in many instances, we don't change it. We accept it as a part of who we are. And for the most part, we accept the consequences of remaining this way. Okay. That brings me to mind, body, and spirit. There's a lot of mental anguish that our ancestors endured. Mentionable. Your great-great-great-grandfather or your great-great-grandfather and grandmother were deeply rooted in that. We had ancestors, we had great-great-grandmothers who were touching slavery or a part of slavery, and they passed that on to the next generation. You cook like your grandmother, you clean like your grandmother, but there's some mental stuff that we don't talk about great-great-grandfather. We don't, Cousin Julius, whatever the names are. And you don't hear about that. We say, yeah, everybody got a crazy cousin, but we never got treatment. We never talked about that. We never wondered why the things that in our community went untreated. So I'm just here to offer, for conversation's sake, to offer for you to think about. There's some things, some behaviors that transpire when you deal with trauma. The military and war, they come here, they come home and deal with trauma. Our ancestors have passed down trauma through the years and years. And some of our families, we know that things are going on, but whatever goes on in this house stays in this house. I think it's time to talk about some of this stuff. Let me ask you this. Do you feel like there are times that you could label, I know we're not psychiatrists, we're not doctors or anything like that, but just take the words the best way you can and just try to think back in your family. Can you think of some of this stuff? Trauma, and it exhibits in this way. Obsessive compulsive disorder. Anybody that was just obsessive with things had to be here, very compulsive about it. If you moved it, it was a big problem. Things like that. Obsessed about things had to be in the same place. You had to do things in the same order. You cannot change the order. It had to be the way that they were certain that this was going to be the outcome, even though it may not be the outcome, but they were certain that their way was the only way, and they were very obsessive about it. Have you ever experienced somebody with extreme control behavior? What about have you ever been around anybody in your family or some people in your family who anytime you were trying to just have a basic discussion and you ask them a question and they get unusually angry, and they get so angry that they stomp away. You always and blame it on you. Escape avoidance disorder. Anything uncomfortable for them, they figure out a way to escape it, avoid it. And as simple as returning a phone call, we avoid it, we escape. Have you ever met anyone that was, I'm not saying all of these is because of, but it could be seen in these ways, okay? They always have to work. They always have to be busy. Their to-do list is never done. They escape by working. They escape by getting stuff done. They work in the garage. They're under the car. They're on top of the car. They're on the top of the house. They're boom, 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 boom. A restless soul, but just can't stop. Or how about someone that's overly defensive before you can even get it out of their mouth? They're defensive. This trauma manifests itself, anger, in many other ways. It manifests itself if it's not treated. And we have exhibited some of these behaviors, and we don't talk about it. We don't get treatment about it. I think it's time to talk about it. I think it's time to talk to someone. I don't know. Self-awareness. I think that's what I'm asking for, self-awareness. And I'm doing it for me, and it's a good discovery. I'm doing it as it relates to those who are around me so I can understand them a little better. And then the main thing that I've discovered, that you don't hold them accountable for it. Now, forgiveness becomes much easier when you know the source, when you know you don't have to know the story, but in some cases, the untold story, if you knew the untold story, you would understand why great-great-grandma, great-great-grand-Uncle Joe, this is why they did that. That trauma was passed down. When we're not trying to make excuses, but in many cases, you have to admit we have gone through levels of trauma that no one else has gone through for over 400 years. It's not something you can dismiss. You loved your in-laws, and some you couldn't understand. Some did some things that you couldn't understand. And we just labeled that person, oh, they always do that kind of stuff. My heart goes out to all who have experienced rape, incest. And the more you research, the more you find out how routine that was. Little girls and little boys having to endure that from an age where they can't, come on, trauma people. And it wasn't treated. They weren't sent out for Prozac or anything. And still to this day, we're not treating it because we're not even talking about it. So I want to talk about it. I think it needs to be discussed. I think it needs to be in the forefront, opposed to something that we just skip over because it's too difficult to discuss. I hope I made sense. I think I did. If I didn't, I'll edit it so it'll make better sense. Go to your doctor. Follow your treatment plan. Exercise. Consider a healthy living lifestyle. And let's see where it goes. Mind, body, and spirit. Mind, body, and spirit. I feel like if one is out of balance, the whole is out of balance. We've gone through much, and we've shown our strength. We've shown our resilience. Now let's show our intelligence and start getting these things treated. Let's start talking about them, not fussing about them, not getting angry about them, not fighting about it. But there's been a lot of stuff that we know and we don't know that occurs in our families. Let's heal for the sake of the next generation. For the sake of the next, some of us might be just basket case. We've gone too far the way we are. But let's see if we can pass something on to the future generations that will be a tangible heirloom, not an intangible, silent heirloom of trauma. So let's talk, okay? Let's talk. God bless you. May heaven smile upon you, and may the peace of God be forever with you. Restoring Light on Thursdays. Restoring Light, the Overcoming the Dark Past, the book is on Amazon. Please go out and purchase it. As soon as I drop From Change to Change, I will let you know, and I'm excited. We're getting close. God bless you.